Okay, traders, it's Wednesday, February 25th. About 4:45. We're a little late. We think we're going to actually adjust the time on these to 4:45 because I know a couple people have been waiting at 4:30, and George and I sometimes have family duties of picking kids up from school, and traffic, sometimes is bad. So we're going to shoot for 4:45 for the next couple of days, maybe a week or two, and just see how that went. But anyway, I'll hand it over to George, and you can give us the daily recap.
Well, thank you much, sir. Yeah, you're right. Traffic was especially bad last couple of days. We'll take one chart at a time here. I'll start here with the NQ only because it looks like we had earnings come out and we did officially get up into the even further scenario. So we'll start there. Oh, well, that was the wrong button. There we go. All right. Let's zoom this guy in. So we'll start here with our pre-market analysis. All right. So I was up early this morning. So I started charting and chart casting and so forth pretty early on. And we got something a little different on the screen today than I typically do. And it's helpful sometimes for the people that are in a room just to help them visualize what I'm talking about. Like, for whatever reason, I can just see it. It's not really a big deal for me. I don't necessarily need a lot of the fancy stuff, but it does help a lot of times with people's understanding of exactly what's happening. So here's really what we had going on this morning. In the pre-market, they had already held a pretty significant level to the downside, and they were already well into the move. So here's our 920 bar, like right here. So what I was trying to highlight for folks is that each one of these we got, if you see here, I even labeled it right here. It says same as yesterday. It was just another level that was an upward decision point of the market. And then as you can probably see, there are two additional ones. So we had one down here, they broke through, way back at 3 o'clock in the morning. The next major decision point, they broke through here around like 6:55. And again, nobody's trading this necessarily. And then the next one here was broke through it here at 7:25. So I was trying to give some visuals with these big candles, and I wanted to make sure that because we're running so many different scenarios simultaneously, it's important to know which decision point that the market has already committed to is associated with which scenario. So we started off here at the bottom of the further one that was, broken back at 3 o'clock morning. And I was making sure they understood that this guy, if I just extend it straight across, is the first scenario. The next one was associated with the next scenario. And then this one here, the decision point here, and I had said it at the time. I was like, it's probably not anything worth mentioning, which I got this completely wrong because earnings came out and this thing shot all the way up. But this decision point, do you remember, were you there this morning when I was chatting about this?
No.
Just how far away it was and how ridiculous of a distance
I
it
do
was.
remember
Not to talk about it.
I do remember hearing you say there's targets, but they're so far away, we're not even going to mention it. Yeah, I remember that.
We're not going to mention it. So this decision point here at the where's it at? Here it's 139. At the 139, this box here, it's this. Hence the reason I just sort of left it alone and said it's not really worth talking about. It's well into like swing trade territory. Nobody's holding that long, not for an intraday trade. So don't worry about it. We're just not going to discuss it. Instead, I said, let's just focus on really where are the achievable markers. And so I just sort of left it really between the decision point and the hurdle. And I even labeled it big deal hurdle because it's a big deal. If they get through this hurdle, it's a big deal. Well, they did do that for us after achieving this whole series of targets. Again, we were in a bit of a precarious place here starting at 920, simply because we've already achieved target one of scenario one. And, just me being me and wanting to keep people safe and make them understand that chasing is chasing. Like, we started the day off effectively chasing. That's just where we started the day. So if you got long, good for you. Because again, it's not that you did anything wrong. We were above a decision point. It's valid. You just need to know where you're at and what's still left, on the table. I, for one, didn't do anything. I literally left it alone. And it went through the big deal hurdle. Once it confirmed above here, that was all I needed. I said, okay, what I'm looking for now is for the market to give us additional targets, preferably some kind of a has to hold, or even like targets back to the downside that we can counter trend trade the rubber band. Well, they finally gave us something. Bam, right here. So at 10:35 in the morning, we knew that this level here was a has to hold. And look where the market came to, right to our level. And this was associated with these next two series of targets to the upside. And, this was painful. This was absolutely painful because it didn't do it very quickly. This is what, from 11 o'clock all the way to rubber band so you'd had to be in this trade for 5 hours, 5.5 hours, just to get the full length of all of this stuff. But it did actually get finally even to the first target that we had posted. And again, we posted this stuff like what, 9:20, 9:30 in the morning. It was a long time away. And we finally got there after the earnings. So again, for those who don't believe that the market is controlled, that's a little bit of proof for you. They know where they're going and they know that they're going to get there. It's just a question of when. And that's the part that if you know that answer, please feel free to reach out. We'll do some business together. And then here's the ES, very similar pre-market conditions. Again, we had a rubber band from yesterday. You guys can even watch yesterday's video. Matter of fact, you can confirm that we had this posted yesterday that 69.28 was going to react like a rubber band. Sure enough, hit that thing spot on, dropped, hit it again, dropped, hit it again, dropped. So very much like we would expect a rubber band to react. But it too had a decision point at 69.31 half, made it through there. Again, we'd called out that the rubber band here at 47 half, please watch out. Make sure that if you got into anything long at the start of the day, please take profit. I had not personally gotten anything long. I took it short off the rubber band back to this level. And then I kind of did something I don't typically tell other people to do, which is flip flop. But the day was seeming pretty obvious that we were trying to go to the upside. So once it got here back to the decision point, after I think it tagged it like twice, I went ahead and just exited my shorts entirely. And then I sat on my hands for a little bit, and it gave another has to hold below us. So ultimately, I took it long back from the decision point up all the way through this series of targets here. And then hits our hurdle.
Is that the trade you were referring to when you said sometimes the best trade is just to let it do its thing?
No, I was the NQ trade. I was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, without a
This one I got-
screenshot, it's hard for us to tell what you're talking about. So maybe you can make sure to mention it here so I can answer questions if people want.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. No, this one I was pretty much home free after it got through target one for the second time. Here it was questionable after it hit at 11:15. I'd entered down here, so I wasn't too concerned. But I was just like, well, hopefully it gets through target one. Again, it finally did. So that one I was done by this point. Yeah, I can pull the NQ. Oh, and here we go. You guys get a little extra here. The next target up on the ES is up here at 89, 69.89. So you watch. I guarantee you it's going there. But yeah, I can pull up the NQ. This is the one I would refer to. I posted in our discussion room in Discord that some of the best trades, the one you just leave alone. So I had gotten in here at 11 o'clock to go long. And again, this thing was painful. Once it got to the 319, yeah, I was calling this out for how long? An hour. I was like, it's going to get to 319 at least. And I was like, once it got there, I just let all my other contracts sit with just a little bit above break even. And then they were all set to trigger for profit as it just ran up and up and up and up. And so my last contract came out right about here. Yep. So there's rubber band, hit the rubber band, retraced, and then of course we got the news. And yeah, same thing. Like the next target up on the NQ is actually up here. It's around 603. So same thing. Yeah, it was a terrible day actually from a speed perspective. It's just everything drug on forever.
After it took off without us, or without, most of us at least. Heard a couple guys said they got a
Yeah,
little bit of it, but man, it just bam.
I didn't catch any of the initial run. None. I was, and that's just my thinking. It's the way I trade personally, but it doesn't negate what is factual. And that's really what we try to provide here in the room for everybody. Like, fact is fact. Decision points are decision points. Has to holds are has to holds. Targets especially, they are what they are. And there's nothing that we can do about them. The market's either going to go there or it's not. And I don't mean that to say that we don't know. It's just it's a giant game of if then. If the market can clear this level, it'll go to that level. If it can clear that level, it'll go to the next level. So for me, that's why I get in pretty heavy on the entries, and it gives me the room to take a little bit off as we progress through each and every scenario.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tomorrow's Thursday, so we got some sort of news in the morning. I forget what it was, but I think it's unemployment. So be watching your charts.
Sounds right.
Yeah, at 8:30. Be careful. Probably don't want to be in the market right at 8:30.
Yeah, I would suspect the ES will get to 89 here probably before the 3 a.m. And they might gap up to the 89 here before 3 a.m. We'll see how that goes.
So when I looked at the chart and said, man, I wasn't here and it all missed me, I probably wouldn't have taken the trade anyway. Like you said, it just took off. But on days like this, I'm like, at least my 401k is happy today. That's my consolidation prize.
Right. And on a completely separate note, Bitcoin's trying to get back above 70,000 for the first time in a while. Did you, because you got in, I think I got in around like 61. I think you said like 62.
64.
Is that right?
64, I bought some more.
64.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Should be good.
Okay, man.
All right, guys.
Appreciate your time today, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.